Why are you here today? I mean, don't get me wrong, I am delighted that you are, so please don't disappear over to Dr. Cliff's channel now, but I'm really keen on knowing what made you click on today's video. Is it because you're wearing the Rexton Reach hearing aids and you want to know what my thoughts are? Is it because you're not, but you're really keen and interested in buying them? Or is it because you've heard that they're the latest offering in Costco and you want to know my opinion on them? If your reason, yes, if your reason for being here today is any of the above, then you're in the right place. As Rexton's newest family of hearing aids, the Reach, was released in February 2024. And as of July, you'll find them in Costco US for an incredibly affordable price. Meaning that as you head through those big old Costco warehouse doors, you'll now have the choice between the Philips HearLink 9040s, the Jabra Enhanced Pro 20s, and now the Rexton Reach. So today I'll give you a full review on these little powerhouses, plus the lowdown on their improvements over and above Rexton's previous hearing aid tech, the BiCores. For those of you that don't know already, Rexton hearing aid technology is built by WSA, who are the same manufacturers that make both Widex and Signia hearing aids, so have a strong presence in the hearing technology world. I've been very interested to see the results of a recent poll that I put out there on YouTube, asking those of you that wear Costco fitted hearing aids which brand you're wearing. And these were the results. And they're very obvious, and I'm keen on knowing about you watching me today. Yes, you. Firstly, I would love for you to share with me which make of hearing aid you're wearing, plus why you chose that particular make. Drop me a note in the comments beneath today's video, as this will help me to focus my attention on the videos that you want going forwards. So the big question is, why am I so delighted that Rexton have updated their hearing aid technology to these, the new Reach hearing aids? Well, the thing is, yes, the BiCores were strong hearing aids and they had a few unique standout features, such as their dual processor technology, My Voice 2.0 and their Sound Pro 2.0, all aiming at better hearing in noise, but they weren't without their issues, with quite a few patients reporting the likes of Bluetooth connectivity issues, some reporting that their custom programs were disappearing from the app, and then there was the occasional inconsistency report with their reliability. So the big question is, what have Rexton done to resolve all of these issues? Well, they've built the Reaches, haven't they? And they've listened to the feedback from both you guys watching and your audiologists. And it appears that they've addressed some of the technical shortcomings of the BiCore by developing some new advanced features. And in my opinion, provided a more reliable, user-friendly and higher performing hearing aid. So I'll start today by taking you on a physical tour of them, and then I'll delve into what's going on inside. At the time of making this video, the Rexton Reach is technically available in two different models. We have the Rexton RLIT and the INOX CIC-LI. However, if you're planning on having them fitted in Costco, then you'll only have access to the RLIT receiver and canal model. So this is where I'll be focusing all of my attention today. Out of the two, incidentally, it's the most feature-packed, supporting rechargeable lithium-ion batteries, which gives an unbelievable wear time of up to 39 hours without streaming. And then it's still, even with 5 hours of streaming, 34 hours, which I'm pretty sure is an industry record that's currently only rivaled by Signia. And then the T represents the fact that it has a built-in telecoil, which, if you're not familiar with the benefits of a telecoil, I will run through the details later on in today's video. Taking you on a physical tour of these hearing aids, you'll notice the unit that sits behind the ear, which is fully enclosed with no battery to change. There's a rocker switch on the back, which is essentially a soft key and has a few functions, such as increasing or decreasing the volume, activating different programs, plus, you can even answer or hang up phone calls with it. These hearing aids have directional microphones, so you'll notice here we have the rear-facing microphones, and here are the ports for the forward-facing microphones. And then finally, the receiver wire, which feeds energy and information to the speaker, which sits inside your ear. Now, these hearing aids can be customized for you by changing the tip on the end, and Rexton have a selection of medical-grade silicone tips to choose from, ranging from open, closed, or power sleeves, depending on your hearing loss and also the shape and size of your ear canals. Now, while I'm on the subject of customization and personalization, one thing that I think is often overlooked is having custom tips made for the end of many users' hearing aids. And in my clinic, I tend to add them to as many hearing aids as possible when they're suitable. So the big question is, why am I talking about this small yet very important part of the hearing aid so much? Well, believe it or not, the sound of your hearing aid will be completely transformed by changing the tip on the end of it. For example, it can affect both the clarity and sharpness that your hearing aid provides. It can affect how full and rich it sounds, how good it sounds when you're streaming from your phone or your TV, and most importantly, how well it copes in background noise. It's really easy to think that the tip is just about comfort, but it is way more important than most people realize, and I include audiologists within that as well. And it's really down to the expertise of your hearing care provider to recommend the most appropriate setup for you. I would encourage any of you watching this video today to ask your audiologist whether a custom tip is appropriate for you when they're recommending the best setup for your hearing loss and for your audiological profile. As far as colors go now, I am delighted to say that Costco normally tends to be pretty limited with their supply of colors. But in this case, I'm pleased that they've managed to persuade Rexton to provide their new hearing aids in a range of different colors, starting off with rose gold, dark champagne, sandy brown, and then finally black. Most patients that I tend to see in clinic tend to match the color of their hair, so there should be something out there for all of you watching this video today. Now, I'm pretty sure that's everything that I wanted to mention from a physical point of view. So now we'll do a deep dive into what's going on inside these hearing aids, starting off with sound quality. However, before I do, you'll be pretty surprised to hear that 75% of the people that are watching my videos haven't yet hit the subscribe button. So if I can ask a huge favor of you today, if you've ever enjoyed my videos, then please press that subscribe button. It helps me out way more than I can say and helps me to grow the channel. And the bigger the channel gets, the better my videos will get too. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy the rest of today's video. As I mentioned earlier today, one unique feature to Rexton is the use of dual processors for improved speech clarity in the presence of background noise, which they now call MultiTrack processing. And I have to admit, I am a big fan of this, with its ability to process environmental sounds such as background noise separately from speech. This multi-voice processing is interwoven with their brand new multi-voice focus feature. And I'll put up on screen now an example of how this works exactly. This feature utilizes 4 focus beams to scan your environment 1,000 times per second, adapting to the changing dynamics of group conversations, and ensuring that the hearing aids are focusing on the person that you want to hear, making speech clear and recognizable, even amidst the presence of background noise. Rexton boasts that this feature constantly adapts to the changing dynamics of a conversation, boosting the prominence of those in the group who are speaking whilst keeping track of those who aren't, all without switching modes or delaying. And then when the hearing aids identify a person speaking in your near field, quite cleverly, their voice stabilizer feature kicks in, which adjusts the compression individually for each of those 4 directional beams. And Rexton are boasting that the hearing aids will then apply the appropriate compression and noise reduction for that specific person, making it easier to distinguish speech from the background noise that's going on around you. Of course, this all sounds wonderful, right? But does it work? Well, Rexton have made this impressive demo for me to include in today's video, which has been filmed in their lab's spatial sound room, which, by the way, is like heaven for me. It has 45 built-in loudspeakers that can mimic various listening situations, and this next clip is a demo from a food truck at an amusement park, which is loud, annoying, and tough to hear with sounds coming from all directions, creating a lively but particularly challenging listening environment, especially for somebody that's wearing hearing aids.
As you can hear, there are many different sounds coming from everywhere. Sounds really fun in here. So let's bring in more fun and more people to the scene to make it even harder. Hello.
Hi there.
Good to see you. Good to see
you
you.
too.
Yeah, I'm loving this festival.
Good to hear so
Yeah,
much.
great time.
Yeah, there's so much going on.
Good experience
So that's without the MultiFocus program set up. If we then enable the MultiFocus program, this is the difference in the sound.
Let's give it a go. So I heard food, right?
Yes. Food.
Yeah, I'm really up for it now.
Yeah,
Let's
but
do it.
maybe we should visit the taco food truck first.
Taco would look
Yeah,
good.
that's a great idea.
Yeah,
I like.
and then waffles.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
For
All right,
sure, we
all
need
right.
some
That's
dessert,
okay.
right?
Yeah,
Let's
I like that
make
idea.
it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Do we have a plan?
So what do you think? Did you hear any improvement whatsoever? In my opinion, this results in sharper and clearer hearing in the presence of background noise than we've ever seen from any of Rexton's previous technology. But that's only one feature, or that's only a few features, sorry. There are other things that Rexton have improved in this new technology too. It's pretty standard now for most hearing aids to have built-in Bluetooth, but what you might not be aware of is that the type of Bluetooth varies depending on the hearing aid that it's in. Well, I'm delighted to announce that Rexton have joined the likes of Jabra, Resound, Signia, and Oticon and included the latest version of LE audio into these new hearing aids, which I'm pretty sure is going to change your guys' listening experiences forever. And believe me, I do not say this lightly. In short, you'll see an improvement in the Bluetooth capabilities with your phone when it comes to sound quality and battery consumption. And that's whether you're listening to phone calls, the radio, music, or podcasts, all whilst keeping your phone in your pocket, giving you a truly hands-free experience. But that's not all. Where this tech will really take off is in a public venue with a built-in Auracast transmitter. This new form of transmitter is specifically designed to work with newer LE audio technology and will send any signal to your hearing aids, such as if you walk into a football stadium and want to hear the commentary, or if you walk into a train station and want to hear the train announcements, or even if you go to a museum and you want to hear the tour guide with perfect clarity and distinction being streamed directly to both of your hearing aids. Over the next few years, it's likely that we'll see public venues installing these Auracast transmitters, and Auracast broadcasted audio will replace the century-old loop systems that are now built into public venues. This allows for multiple hearing aid users to simultaneously connect to audio in public spaces, all with this massive improvement in sound quality and significantly lower battery consumption. And you've got to trust me on this one, this is going to be an absolute game changer. Not for just those of you out there wearing hearing aids, but this will be built into headphones too. Now, something worth noting is that whilst the Reachers have got this built into their hearing aids, it hasn't yet been activated. Now, this will all be done in the future with a very simple and free firmware update in clinic with your audiologist. Does this really matter at the moment? No, because there are no public venues that yet have these Auracast transmitters. But what I will say is make sure you subscribe to this channel, because as soon as Rexton announce the update, I will publish it right here, as you will then need to head over to your audiologist to have that update performed to the hearing aids. As I mentioned earlier today, the Reach also sports a telecoil, which some manufacturers are getting rid of now. And I think this is a correct move from Rexton, because until Auracast streaming becomes mainstream, you'll still be able to connect to public venue streaming services in the likes of churches, theatres, etc., etc. In fact, anywhere where you see this sign. Now, I'm pleased that Rexton have recognized this potential lag between rolling out LE audio and it being installed in public venues, and are still giving you access to both of these types of streaming technology in the interim. Reading between the lines now, this also tells me that Rexton aren't expecting Auracast to be implemented at any point in the near future. Now, you'll also be delighted to know that these hearing aids live up to the industry standard of an IP68 rating. And this means that they can technically be submerged in 1.5 meters of water for 30 minutes and they should still function afterwards. Now, I'm definitely not suggesting going swimming wearing them, but this rating should ensure less breakdowns and more reliability. And let's face it, you want to be able to forget that you're wearing them and not have to shield them every time you go anywhere near water. Similarly to all other Bluetooth-enabled hearing aids, Rexton also have their own, and this allows you to make adjustments to the settings on your hearing aids, giving you better controls than having to press the buttons on the back of your hearing aids. or having to go back to see your audiologist every time you want changes to be made. Comparing the Rexton app to other hearing aid manufacturers' apps, it is pretty basic, but it gives you access to the standard adjustments that you might want, such as volume, boosting the bass or treble, and then changing programs. It does, however, have two unique features. The first, which allows you to change the direction of the microphones, manually pointing them forwards, backwards, left, or right, which can be useful if you want to override the automatic settings, especially in a noisy environment. And then secondly, they have their speech boost or mask mode, which boosts speech for people wearing masks, behind plexiglass, or even if they're just softly spoken. And then finally is their Rexton Assist, which is Rexton's use of AI in their hearing aids. This is pretty clever because it allows you to communicate with the app, and you can adjust the settings of your voice, background noise, and other preferences directly by communicating with the app and typing the issues that you've got. The app will then make appropriate adjustments based on your individual requests that other people around the world have made too. Rexton have also been great at recognizing where hearing aid technology alone will struggle to overcome hearing challenges, and as a result they have a range of accessories such as the Smart Mic, which is a remote microphone which, when handed to somebody, they can move up to 25 meters away, and their sound of their voice will be streamed directly to your hearing aids. The Smart Transmitter 2.4 streams the sound of your TV directly to both of your ears and is a great addition to your toolbox if you're having trouble listening to the television. And then finally, Rexton have their Smart Key, which, if you don't have a smartphone, allows you to adjust the settings on your hearing aids without having to press the button on the back of them. Now, if I was you, there is no way that I would make a decision on which Costco hearing aid to buy unless I'd seen this video comparing their other hearing aid technology available today.